Okay, so in the previous lesson I said to you I was going to show you about the possible error you might get, and it's a dangerous one, might kind of mess you up in the test. So now's as good a time as any to show you about this possible error you might get from using the wblock command. So if I type in W for wblock, and this time instead of selecting the block, and we know this is already a block, what I'll do is I'll go ahead and make the mistake of trying to convert this block called nut into a block called nut. So if I select the objects, so select the object, and it's that block called nut that I select. So you see there's only one object selected, converted to a block. You might kind of notice here as well, it's already pointing at where I intend to save it, and instead of actually clicking on that and going out, you can actually just replace that little new block, but you have to keep the .dwg. You could actually call that nut by typing in nut there, or you can actually click on this little radio button, and I'm going to select the nut option. It's going to ask me to, when I do this, it's going to say already exists, so I want to write over it, so I will do that. So click OK, and it says that the file already exists. I'm just going to write over it, and it goes out and it writes over it, and it's deleted it from the screen, and everything's fine and dandy. And it looks like everything kind of worked fine. Now when I go and try and insert the block called nut, if I go browse for it and go to my documents, and it's in David save file and nut, and click open, and click, I'm going to specify the pointer on screen, click OK. It says not as ready to find. Do you want to free to find it? Yes, I do. And it says invalid. Now if I scroll back up here, you'll see that it says block nut references itself. So basically what it's saying is that I'm trying to bring in a block called nut, but within that block called nut there's a block called nut, because remember we saved the block called nut as nut. So when it tries to bring it in, it looks for a block called nut. To bring in the block called nut, it needs a block called nut, so it goes looking for that. It finds a block called nut, which needs a block called nut, and it creates that endless loop. Now AutoCAD won't let you create that endless loop. That's why it says block nut references itself. So what it means is it's repeating an endless loop of trying to bring in a block called nut, and rather than just AutoCAD freezing, which it used to do many moons ago, freezing in that endless loop, it just stops and says you can't do it. So I've now created that block called nut. If I open up the drawing now called nut, and there it is, and it's a drawing called nut, and in it there's a block called nut. How do I fix that up? Well, in my saved drawing outside called nut, if I explode that, so the explode key being here, or X for explode, explode it, brings it back to its sort of individual components. Now I got to do is purge out the block called nut, because it still has that block called nut in this drawing. So if I go to insert in this, you see it still has the nut block within that nut, so I got to purge it out as well. So the purge command, pu is purge, used to be in here, file and purge, drawing utilities, yeah, still there. So purge, or pu, easiest thing to remember. Go up to my all items, it says view items you can purge, so we can only purge items that are not in use. You can't purge an item that's in use, so don't be too afraid of this purge command. It'll only let you purge things that are not in use. So this block called nut's not in use, so I just purge this. I don't want to purge dimension styles or anything like that in this. So purge this item, click OK and close, and then don't forget to save it. So I'm going to save it again. Now when I close that down, hopefully when I go to insert the block, and I'm going to bring it back in, because when I go to insert, that's the current version in it. It doesn't update it. So I got to go out and actually bring that new drawing back in. So this is in my original block drawing. This is still that old nut within a nut, if you like, block. So I got to go browse and bring it in again. So bring the new version into this drawing and specify on screen. We'll type it in. So it's 135 and I think is it 130? I think that's right. And click OK. Redefine the block, yes. And now it's in there at 135, 130. And we've got it in. So you might have to go over that a few times just to kind of get it. And don't be afraid to actually go and deliberately do it wrong so you can actually sort it out and suss it out, because that's one that you'll definitely make the mistake of it at some stage if you don't practice that. But it's a safe enough command, Wblock, once you know what you're doing and you know how to kind of use it properly. So have a go at that. A little bit tricky. You might I'd say I might get a few questions on that one, but see how you get on.